Hey, you guys, thank you so much for joining me. My name is Tonea Smith. This is Restore to Flourish, a Christian-based YouTube channel where I'll be talking about the restoring power of God. There are times where I'll have on guests and we'll conduct interviews about how God restored their lives and is now flourishing within them. But there's also times where I will be having these short little Bible study snippets. So today I'm going to be coming out of Lamentations 2:17 through 20. And then we're going to skip on over to 3:19 through 26. So I got to give a little bit of a backstory when it comes to Lamentations in general. Lamentations is believed to be written by Jeremiah. Jeremiah is a prophet in the time of the Bible or in the time of history rather, where God had to turn his back away from Israel. Israel or the people of Israel. These people are his chosen people. It's the people that he wanted to love and basically just showered them with his provision and his protection. But they kept turning their backs away from him. They kept worshiping other gods and just putting things before God, and that really hurt God. And in order for him to figure out how to get them back in line, he had to turn away from them. And so whenever God turns away from you, not to say that he's just willingly doing that now, but whenever God turns away from you, literally just the repositioning of him, especially in this time, was damage enough. Like him not being there to protect them meant that the enemies could have their way with them immediately. Like the moment he took his hand off of them, that's when they were subject to, and that's when they had to face the realities of what was around them. That hedge of protection was no longer there. So Jeremiah is writing about that experience. He is lamenting about the fact that God is not there for them in that moment. The fact that they have to face their reality. They have to face their enemies. So I want to read a little bit about what Jeremiah is writing, like the way that the words that he chooses to use in these scriptures is just, it's so, I just see mental health written all over it. I think it's because I'm a therapist, but I see how important it is to release. And Jeremiah just really highlights that for us in Lamentations. So I'm going to start reading. Again, this is Lamentations 2:17 through 20 right now. The Lord has done what he planned. He has fulfilled his word, which he decreed long ago. He has overthrown you without pity. He has let the enemy gloat over you. He has exalted the horn of your foes. The hearts of the people cry out to the Lord. O wall of the daughter of Zion, let your tears flow like a river day and night. Give yourself no relief, your eyes no rest. I'm going to stop here before I keep going. Like I said, this has mental health written all over it. This is Jeremiah encouraging the people to cry out to the Lord, to literally have tears, to release the frustration and the longing, the desire for him to come back, to release that, like to let it out instead of holding on to it and having pride and acting as if it isn't as bad as it really is. So I'll keep reading. It says, arise, cry out in the night. As the watches of the night begin, pour out your heart like water in the presence of the Lord. Lift up your hands to him for the lives of your children who faint from hunger at the head of every street. Look, O Lord, and consider, whom have you ever treated like this? Should women eat their offspring, the children they have cared for? Should priest and prophet be killed in the sanctuary of the Lord? I read this because I want you guys to understand how bad this was for them. When Jeremiah suggests should women eat their children, that's how famined the land was, because God had positioned himself away and turned away from his children in this passage or in this time of history. They had to basically face what life would be like without God. And this is what life is without God. Famine, destitution, somber, right? Like it's not a pretty picture. And again, I had to highlight the fact that Jeremiah is encouraging the people to pour their hearts out like water in the presence of the Lord. So for me, that tells me one thing. That tells me that God has not distance himself so far away to where the people still don't have his presence. There's nothing you can do to actually get out of the presence of God. So he's telling them, hey, take advantage of the fact that we still have God's presence. God may has removed his hand of protection over us, but he still hears us. He's still there for us, coming to save us whenever he decides to, but he's still there. So this is another part of this book that I really want to highlight. And it's Lamentations chapter 3, 19 through 26, because there's a shift. It's a small shift. It doesn't happen for the rest of the book of Lamentations, but it's a small enough shift that is really important that I want to highlight. It says, I remember my affliction and my wandering, the bitterness and the gall. I well remember them, and my soul is downcast within me. As I'm reading this, I'm getting enthusiastic, because it's like, I well remember them. Basically it's real for him. It's not something he's fantasizing. Like, he's literally in the depths of despair. It's surrounding him. He's well aware of it. He says, I remember it, yet I call this to mind, and therefore I have hope. This is when the shift happens. It says, because the Lord's great love, we are not consumed, for his compassions never fail. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness. I have to stop right there, because the rest of this is going to get even better. But I really want to draw attention to the fact that yet he calls this to mind. He has to command his thoughts. Yes, he gave way for his mind and his emotions to be released. Not his mind to be released, but his emotions rather to be released. He created space for that. He was intentional about that. He encouraged the people to do the same. But then after he released his emotions, he went back and he commanded his mind to think on the fact that God is there to give him hope, that God will not let them be consumed, that God has compassions for them, that yes, God may be angry with them in their decisions to serve other gods and to put other gods before him, but his compassions have never failed them. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness. I say to myself, the Lord is my portion. Therefore, I will wait for him. The Lord is good to those whose hope is in him, to the one who seeks him. It is good to wait quietly for the salvation of the Lord. So there's so much here, and I'm going to try my best to bring attention to everything that I felt really God put in my spirit about this particular passage. It says, I will wait on the Lord because he is my portion. What this is saying to me is, because they were in such a phase of being of having nothing, that called attention to the fact that I actually don't have anything to add to this. Like, I don't have, like, from my own hand, I don't have the ability to feed myself. I don't have the ability to provide for myself, for my family. But I am going to make the decision to wait on God, who is my portion. Because, hey, after so many days, the body cannot survive off of bread. The body cannot survive off of water alone. They need it to be provided for. They're still in this they're still in this place of famine, but they're surviving somehow. That means that God is still providing for them, that he is still their portion. And so I'll keep reading. It says, the Lord is good to those whose hope is in him, to the one who seeks after him. That means I have to command myself to seek after God, even when it doesn't feel like God is near, even when it doesn't feel like God is there. I have to purposely seek after him. And it is good to wait quietly for the salvation of the Lord. So how in the world do you wait quietly when you just told me to cry out, Jeremiah? I feel like the only way that I am successfully able to wait quietly is if I do that thing first, is if I release my emotions first. I can't wait quietly and release my emotions at the same time. There's no way to do that. Basically, you're asking me to have peace, but still be in the midst of my anxiety. You can't do them at the same time. You have to allow yourself to release the anxiety, release the emotions associated with whatever thing that you're going through. And when you get done releasing, call to mind that God is your portion. Call to mind that God has compassion over you. Call to mind that this is all for the glory of God, that there is nothing that he has left you in. His presence, remember, his presence is still there. Even when you are crying out to him, his presence has never left you. And mind you, this was all in the Old Testament. The New Testament, our relationship with God gets even better. That's another story for another time. However, if this is our instruction, even in the Old Testament, I can only imagine how heightened this is for us as we have a relationship with God today. That God isn't discouraging us from feeling our feelings, but that he is also allowing us the opportunity to understand that after I get done releasing, I now have the capacity to wait on God, for him to show up. That's it, guys. I hope that blesses you. It really blessed me. I have a whole, a long, legit Bible study on the entire book of Lamentations, because the way, like I said, the way that Jeremiah really writes this is amazing. Like, it's just got mental health written all over it. And if you ever have room in your Bible study night and want to invite me in so I could go over this study completely, I would love to do that. But that's it for now. I will see you all next week. Bye.